Alright, so here's our basic hanger model from before that we built way back when in one of the other tutorial videos, I guess at the very end of the basics series. And we're going to go ahead and put some color on this tonight just using our same basic texture sheet named tutorial that we've been using for the rest of these texturing tutorials. Try to go through the video pretty quick here and describe what I'm doing as I'm going, and then if we have any questions at the end we can cover those in the forums. But I'm not going to spend too much time, dwelling on different topics. This is basically going to use everything that we've learned up until this point, and maybe some techniques that we haven't learned. And if I do that, I will try to explain that as I go. But otherwise, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, and we'll put some textures on this thing, and we'll see if we can make it look like a hanger. So we're going to start over here with the current part, which is one of the outboard hanger. I guess it's the area where the doors retract into when the doors are closed. Or excuse me, when they're open. So we'll go ahead and start putting textures on this. Let's see, this is already set to a different package, so let me clear all these out and let me select a new texture. That one's not going to work. Let's remove that. Yes, and we'll add the texture we want. Browse from my texture, which is tutorial. There it is. Let's see if it'll bring it up for me here. Nope, won't bring it up, will it? There we go. Alright, so there's my tutorial texture. We'll open that up and OK with that, and we'll double click on this guy to bring him open, and I'm just going to use my favorite little corrugated siding here, so we'll just do it at 256 to give it a nice look here. 256 pixels wide. I'll hit enter. I want to do the back on that same exact setting, so when it comes up here, 256. And then for the sides, we'll make it something smaller than 256, maybe like a quarter of that size. So for the left, we'll go like 28. And I can just do that now. I can just do, I don't know, X size of, let's see, 28. And we can even do the Y size of, I think, like 25. Let's see. No, that's not going to work, is it? 28, 25. Okay, so yeah, that'll work. So anyways, we'll do, I guess 28's not going to work. Let's do 75. That'll work. 75 and 25, and then I'll do the right side in those exact same numbers so that they match. That's what I was trying to work out there in my brain here at late at night. So we'll do 75 and 25, and then we'll take a look and see how this looks here. Actually, let's do the top as well while we have it. We'll make the top this just this generic roof color with let's see, what can we use for our roof here that'll look somewhat realistic. I think we shall put we'll make it a concrete looking roof. I don't care that it's concrete. It'll just give it some variation on the texture here as we look at it. So there's our part. Okay, it looks pretty good. The spacing looks pretty good for the siding as far as the corrugation and whatnot, and so that looks to be pretty well done. Now here's the beautiful thing about this program. Instead of coming over here to the other side, the opposite side, and texturing that, I'm going to go ahead and actually delete that. If I bring up my grid here, I've designed this this hanger right on the center line, which is what I want to do normally. And the reason for that is I can go back here to my part that I just textured. I can go copy, paste. I can do F2 for the properties menu, and its access location currently is minus 23 point whatever meters. So I'll just take the minus out, go to plus, and that'll put that new part over here on the correct opposite side. And so now I've essentially textured two parts by only having to texture one. So we've got two parts of the whole hanger done already, and we barely put any kind of work into it. Okay, let's do the main structure of the hanger here. So the front, back, and I guess sides, and I think the roof is a separate structure. So we can do, yeah, these are all, let's see, clear all these out. Wrong project. So front, and now what we have to do is we have to try to match the spacing of that corrugation. So let me get out of this real quick, and let me just kind of try to judge it for what it would be if these two little hangar door holders were 256. That's twice. That's probably 3 times. That's probably 4 times. 5. We can't quite go 5, so let me just do a full 10 by 24, 10 by 24. So let me see if that looks okay. On the size, and we'll go 1024 pixels, and let's take a look at it first before we commit to the other structures. Okay, that looks pretty good. It's probably not perfect as far as the actual, the spacing goes, but it's something you can always tweak. But it looks not too bad. Maybe just a little too wide, but not much we can do about it this time. So we'll still use this figure, this 1024 figure, as kind of our base figure for the rest of the model. So let me go back out here and let's do the back. The back's going to be the exact same as the front, which will be 1024 pixels. And we'll just get these points on here. Alright, so we want the back to look just like the front, so we will select our texture up here. We'll make sure it's 1024 pixels wide. The height is not super critical. Okay, and then the sides, we kind of have to look at the sides and decide, well, the sides are about 3/4, in my opinion, 3/4 the length of the width, and so we can do that as well if we know our math here. 3/4 of 1024 is 768, I believe. So we'll just do each side at 768, and that should ensure at least a fairly uniform and standard kind of look to it. And this will basically take care of texturing the sides of our hanger. So one last side to do here at 768. Hit enter. Everybody's happy, and let's take a look at our model now in the preview window, and we've got a hanger. Very good. We've got a hanger. It looks pretty uniform. Everything looks pretty good on the spacing. They seem to match. So we're gonna keep going here, and let's get out of the main window here, and let's put the roof on. So we'll find the roof part here. There it is. And like I said, we'll just put that concrete texture on the top there, and we'll see how it looks. We may split the roof into two and do it twice so it looks a little bit better, but let's see how it comes out first. So we'll go tutorial. That little sample of concrete texture is kind of small, so it may not look very good on the roof. It's so tiny here. So let's put it on once, and we'll see how it looks, and if we need to, we'll just split it into two separate parts and texture it that way. Put that on. That doesn't look too bad. That's a nice high quality texture, so it actually looks somewhat realistic. Now let's say we did want to split that, or split the roof up into two parts. We can do that real quick. Again, just go copy for me, and before we paste the new side, we'll take off 1/2 of it, deleting the points. I will go part, center axis to part. Okay, now I will go F4 again, and I'll reset the texture for this one side, and so it gives it a little bit tighter texture. It takes that whole sample and puts it on just the one side. I'll go paste. Okay, and on this new part, which is box number 5 here, box.5, I will delete that old side. I will center this axis to the part, and texture is already defined on the top. I'll go ahead and hit OK, and we've got a little bit tighter looking concrete pattern, or whatever you want to call it, roof pattern to our part here. Now the second part, let me see if I can go in and flip the part. If I could either flip the texture or flip the part. Let me flip the part first, which I think is basically going to be the same kind of thing. So let me flip it in the Z. And I was trying to get these little lines to line up, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't look like it's going to line up just due to the way the texture is. Although, if I flip it in the X, I bet I can get it to line up. Let's try this. Flip. Oops. Flip. X. No, that was the wrong thing, Mike. Can't do that with that part the way it is. So let me flip the texture back. Let's go F4. Properties, and if I flip the X, it might line up the lines a little bit to make it look a little bit more realistic. Let's try it. X, flip. Hey, there, we got it. Okay, so that's kind of an example of how you can work with the textures a little bit to make them look a little bit tighter and a little bit more realistic. Alright, so we've got the sides done, and we've got the roof or the ceiling done. Notice there's no insides to this hanger other than the hangar doors. We'll try to do the insides maybe on a different video, or just a separate video or separate series to this. So we're left, I guess the only thing left we have is the hangar doors and maybe the railing structure that they go along. So let's do the railing structure, this little cross piece up here that goes over top of the hangar doors. So let me get out of it here so I can see it. Let me select that part, and there it is there. We'll center it up here, and so we can watch it. Let's put let's put that same corrugated steel kind of look all across the top, and because again it's the same width as my hangar is or my building is, I'll just come in here. We'll clear these out here, and let's go top for starters. And we'll do it 1024 pixels across. 1024. Enter, okay, and that looks pretty good. We've still got the front and the bottoms to do. It doesn't need two sides. Let me check the polygons and make sure. Whoops, hey, get out of there. Make sure it doesn't have the polygons. We can hide that polygon, the backwards one. It doesn't need that. And we can hide the, I believe we can hide the two outside polygons. Yes. Okay, good. Just getting rid of polygons we don't need. That'll help. Every little bit helps. Let's do the front, and I just want to make sure the front texture is okay without any complications. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. This is a square part, so I think it should just be just fine. So go 1024. Enter. Yeah, it looks like it worked out. Let me zoom it in here for you so you can see. Yeah, the front worked out just fine. And then we'll come in here and we'll do the bottom. And we'll do the bottom in a different color just to give it some relief and some sense of depth. Maybe we'll do the bottom in a, I don't know, like this dark color here, right here with a shadow, which it's not going to look real good stretched out, but it's the bottom side. You probably won't notice it too much. So you get that kind of that darker look to it, which is what we're going for. Okay, and that leaves us with just the hangar doors to do. All right, so we're down to the hangar doors, and we'll just do the front side of the hangar doors tonight. No sense in doing the inside of the hangar doors since we don't see them. And again, I'm always trying to preach, and I believe in trying to work smarter and not work harder. So instead of doing both sets of hangar doors tonight, I'm going to delete one. This will work, and I'm just going to do one set of hangar doors, and then we'll just copy and paste it and flip the texture around so it looks like the mirror opposite of its companion here. So we'll zoom in here, and I have a couple choices when I do this. I can texture each individual door, or I can just choose the texture and space it out so that it lies on the front of the door like I want it to lie. So this set of doors is facing in the opposite direction of my my hangar textures here, or hangar door textures in my little test sheet here. But we can deal with that. So let's use these three right here. And what I'll do is I'll just very carefully trace my texture definition around these three doors. And if I need to, I can always adjust it. But that looks pretty good there. And then because they're facing in the wrong direction, these are kind of going from, I guess if you're looking at from left to right, and the hangar doors we're looking at go from the right to left, I will use this invert X function. I'll hit OK, and let's see how it looks here. Okay, and it looks like it came out pretty darn good. So without too much work, we've put a little bit of hangar texturing on our hangar doors, and the only thing left to do really are the for this particular part, I believe this is going to be the right side of the part, which would be the inside of the hangar doors. So let's see if we can texture that without it getting too out of control. So we'll go to the right side, and we'll just choose like a blank piece of the door here, not a big technical part. So we'll hit OK and make sure that took, and it did take. And there we go. A set of hangar doors. Now, without even having to go into my design window, I'm just going to go copy, paste. Let's see. We'll move it. So we'll go F2. We'll move the axis location to the opposite side. So take away the minus sign. Okay, there it is. Let me center it up so you can see it now. And you can see that the only issue we have is that the part is backwards. Okay. So we can fix that as well. I don't know if we need to flip the texture quite yet. We'll see here in a second. So I want to flip the part in the x-axis, the side-to-side axis, because notice it's backwards. So come up here to transform, to the flip option, and then flip it in the x, and voila, we have turned our door around, and now it looks correct for the hangar. And by the way, these bottom polygons right here, we could get rid of those. Those aren't going to be seen. And if we're just going to do this hangar as it is, we could delete the inside polygons as well. So there you go. There's our hangar model done in about I don't know, what is that, 10-15 minutes, something like that. And it's a decent looking hangar. We obviously, if we're going to do this for real, we could pick a different design something different for the roof, but that looks okay. It's not bad. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And I hope, hopefully you can see the advantage of doing the whole copy paste thing. And when you get a set of hangar doors like this, instead of having to do each door individually, you can join the parts all together. And if you've set your texture sheet up correctly ahead of time, you can kind of put the textures on there real quickly and move along, and then just copy another copy of it, paste it, flip it around in one of the axes, if it's usually the x-axis, and then go from there. So a lot of this, as you'll probably come to figure out, the better you can design the texture ahead of time in the texture sheet, the better off you'll be with your actual model. And that's why I was talking about in one of the other videos before this, that a lot of times I'll go ahead and design the texture sheet at the same time that I'm designing the object, because that way I can kind of coordinate the two and make what I need on the texture sheet fit what I need on the scenery model. So that's about it. That's your real basic hangar. We've put some basic textures on this. You could import this into a scenery and it would look just fine. Notice we've got some shading on the hangar doors to give it some depth. We colored this underside of this the roof structure here, whatever the hangar rail system, we've covered that or colored that a dark color, so that gives it a little bit of depth, and overall it comes out pretty good. There's one last thing we can do to this hangar tonight to give it a little bit of pizzazz. So let's add a couple little sets of doors to our hangar here, just maybe on the side or the back, and maybe a logo or two, and let me show you how to add that real quick. So for a door, let me get out of this. And let me just go into, to make a door, I'll just use the box structure. And I'll make the door width, I think we're in meters tonight, so a good width for a door is literally just a little over 3 meters. A good height for the door would be a little over 2 meters. In a depth, I'm just going to leave the depth at 1 for now. I'll make the origin at the bottom so it sits right on the horizon line, if you will. And that looks pretty good. Let me see what I'm designing in here to make sure this is good. I am designing in meters. Okay. So my hangar might have been designed in feet initially, but we'll just work with this for now. It looks a little too short and stubby to be a door, so I'll fix that here real quick. We'll draw it up a little bit. Looks good there. Let me center the axis. Let me squish it a little bit in the x-axis so it looks more like a door maybe. There we go. And then what I'm going to do, I'll center the part here so you can see how I do this. I'm just going to make a flat-sided polygon, and instead of choosing a flat-sided polygon over here in a new polygon, I just made it out of a door or made it out of a box structure or a cube structure because I can control the dimensions right off the bat by just punching in the dimensions to the part size. So to make the door, I'll just delete the backside of the structure here. Those points center the axis to the part, and now I have just a single one-sided polygon that's left over. And let me move it so that we can see it here. Don't let it move in the Y direction. Whoops, no Y movement. And I'll just move it up over here. Let me stick it out front here so it shows up. We'll center it up here and you can see what it looks like. Okay, so there's our blank door. You can see it's out in front of the hangar there. There's nothing on the back side of it, but what we will do is we'll just put it on the hangar, right on the front of the hangar, on the hangar doors themselves. So let me center this up. Now, you would think ideally you would just move the hangar door right here, where this line down here represents the, I believe that's going to be the hangar lip or the thing it hangs over. So the hangar doors are back here. But if I put this back here too far, notice it disappears. Okay, so if I bring it out just in front, that's where we want it. But if I leave it too close, the sim will blur the door. Once you get it in game, it'll look fine in the design window. Once you get it in game, the sim will blur the two together, and you get kind of this flickering effect. So we have to actually leave these flat polygon doors or windows or whatever. We have to leave those out front of the part that we're placing it in front of, I guess, by a little distance. Alright, so again, we want to leave this door out slightly just ahead of the surface that it's going to go over top of. What the proper depth is or what the proper spacing is, I don't exactly know, but there's another way that you can make sure, or you can try to make sure, that you don't have any display issues between your two structures here, and that is to go into the part properties menu for your part. Okay, in this case it's just named a generic box 7 or whatever. What you can do is you can change the name to Z-bias, and I just do it in capital letters. You can do it in small letters, it doesn't matter. Z-bias and an underscore, and then whatever you want to name it, door. So what will happen is when the model gets compiled by the Make Model compiler, which is the compiler for Flight Simulator 9, it'll see that this part is named Z-bias. And what that'll do is it'll tell Make Model when it compiles the model that basically in game you want this part to take precedent over the part behind it. In other words, you want to give a bias in the Z-axis. In other words, the front to back direction. You want to give this part a bias in the Z direction over, in this case, in front of the hangar doors that sit behind it. So we'll call it Z-bias underscore door. I'll hit OK, and again, it's not going to change the way it looks in the design window. This is one of those things. Once you get into Flight Simulator, you'll see what I mean. If you get this model into the game and this little door is flickering a little bit, you'll see what I mean. Like the texture behind it from the hangar doors themselves are kind of bleeding through. Then you just need to come back in here to your design window and move the door out just a skosh more. Not too much, but just enough so that it doesn't flicker. So I've got my door here. Let me texture it real quick, just the front. I've got a like a false door texture I can use down here from my texture sheet. And that's this guy over here, which is just a little hand-drawn door. It's nothing special. You can find plenty of pictures of doors online if you need to use for a texture sample. See if I can draw it here. Oh, not bad for using my opposite hand. All right, and we'll hit OK, and there's our door. Okay. So let me center this out here. Let me kind of let you see it, how it looks. I don't like the looks of the door. It looks too fat to me, so I'll skinny it up here a little bit by squeezing it in the X direction a little bit. Whoops, wrong way. There we go. That looks a little more realistic. Expand it out here so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's a pseudo door in our hangar. Okay. Let's put that Thunderbirds logo on right up here. So to do that, I am going to pick a disc out here, a new disc. Number of sides is it's up to you. I'll go with 10. That should be a fairly round side. Radius just needs to be probably 0.5 of a meter, half a meter, and it needs to be the perpendicular axis in the Z. Let me get out of this whole thing so we can see our disc. Let me move it. It's right on the center line now, so I'll just move it so it's out, and then we'll move it up, right, like that. Let me center it up here, and let's see if we can see it. If we can't see it, it's probably because the axis is the wrong way. Yep, there it is. It's just I need to flip it. So let me go transform, flip in the Z-axis. There it is. Okay, it's way too small, so let me scale it here so it's big enough that we can see it. That's good, good. And then let me back off here and we'll move it. Again, doesn't need to move in the X direction for my taste, just in the Y. We'll set it just ahead of the structure that it's on top of. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Maybe move it forward in the Z just a little bit more. Okay, I'll come in here. I'll give it a Z-bias name, Z-bias/logo. Okay, and then we'll put a texture on it. Okay, so since it's round, it should take this this round shape of that Thunderbird logo pretty well. Might not be perfect, but again, we can always fix that. So I'll come down here and I'll draw my box around it as accurately as I can. It's okay if I cut off the sides just a little bit. I think I want to go up on the the Y crop a little bit. No, wrong way. There we go. Bring the Y size down maybe 1 or 2 pixels. That looks pretty good. And let's see, Y size, make it 1 more bigger. And then crop it back the opposite way. That looks good. I'm pretty happy with that. We'll hit OK. We'll hit OK, and we'll see how it looks. We'll center it up. Zoom it in, and you can see it bleeds over just a little bit. I think if we used a little bit more round part as opposed to a 10-sided part, we could get that looking a little bit nicer. If I really had a lot of time tonight, I'd go in and I would tweak the polygon textures for this. But for now, I think for the purposes of our video tonight and finish it up, that's pretty good. So we'll just expand it. We'll let everybody see the entire hangar here. We'll zoom it in. And there's your little hangar, complete with a door, a logo, some shading, some siding, all kinds of fun stuff. But that's a basic hangar for you with some tricks applied to it. And that's about all there is to it. Now, obviously, it gets more complicated than that. The parts and the shapes get more complicated than that, but that's pretty much it, guys and girls. If there are any girls out there, come see us in the forums. Try some different textures on this. Try making up your own textures, and see what you can come up with. Like I said, maybe we'll take this the next step further, and we'll do the inside of it on the next video. We'll go ahead and design the inside of it, and then we'll texture the inside of it with some inside textures. We'll put a floor on it, and maybe we'll open the doors a little bit so it's an open hangar. But those are some things to shoot for. Like I said, come see us in the forums if you have any questions. We're, with the international community, we're up pretty much 24 hours a day. So I hope you've enjoyed the basic series. I think what we'll do now is we'll start on some actual different kind of scenery objects. I think we'll start our next little project. It'll be like a control tower. And then I think after that we'll do a rotating radar dish to show you how to do rotating parts. And then maybe like a hardened aircraft shelter out of that kind of thing to show you how to texture some of the more difficult parts. And we'll just build from there. We'll eventually get to an airplane this summer sometime if I have enough time to do that with you guys. And hopefully we'll get some stuff done. Should be a fun time. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.